Hey guys, Don here from Adventures This Way. Glad to have you along for the ride. For those of you that are new to the channel, I'd like to welcome you. And all my returning subscribers and viewers, thanks for your continued support. I appreciate it. If you're new to the channel and you haven't subscribed yet, why not? I hope you find value in the content, and if you do, consider subscribing because I'd appreciate your support. Now, you may ask yourself this question: why should I subscribe? Well, let me tell you. The whole goal here is to provide entertainment for everybody that likes to get out and enjoy a ride on their machine. It doesn't matter what kind of machine it is, how new it is, older it is. The fact is that you enjoy getting out and riding, getting outside with your buds and having a good time. And when you're out with your buds and something goes wrong and something gets broken or they get stuck or they screw something up, then you have a good laugh about it, rib them a little bit, and then you help them out and we make sure that everybody gets home all together. That's the kind of value that I'm trying to provide. Yeah, buddy! We're not out. You're not out yet, man.
See to do anything.
Okay. Yeah, just tip her this way a bit. There you go. You got her. Easy. Yeah, nice and easy. There you go. Well, can never smell the unburnt fuel.
Oh, hopefully that starts back up.
Hey guys, Don here from Adventures This Way, and what I want to talk to you guys about today is, would I buy this ATV again if I had to do it all over again? Let me put it to you this way. Would I have bought a regular XP like this one right here, or would I have purchased a HighLifter? Now, let me just rewind things a little bit. If you go back to the archives on my channel, when I first got this machine, I was coming off of a Yamaha Kodiak 450. And I really wasn't into mud riding or extreme off-trail, but I started to do it just a little bit, and I started to really enjoy it. Plus, everything around where I live, it's mud riding. There's lots of other things you can do too, but where we are right now, I'm like 10 minutes from my house. And there's all kinds of challenging terrain. As challenging or as fun as you want it to be. So, what did I decide to do? I decided with this guy here, I wanted to make it a little more of a mud-specific machine, but I still wanted to be able to rip some trails and don't go too crazy. If you want to go over a pure mud, you know, let's go 34. Let's go down here and go 34-inch tires, maybe like a 3-inch lift, or heck, you could go even way bigger than that. But big ground clearance. But when you do that, you can't go ripping trails. It's just, there's no two ways about it. So sticking with these cryptid tires, which I got quite cheap because, does anyone know the reason why you can get them cheap? I bought them used as takeoffs because the people that buy the higher horsepower Can-Am models, this is their stock tire that comes with. They're a very capable tire, which I've talked about in some other videos. But the fact of the matter is, they're not a super aggressive mud tire, but they're very good. They're a great mud trail combination tire. And if you want to go extreme, you got to get something more. You know, you get an Assassinator, a Moto Havoc XM310Rs, which are muy bigo tires. You need at least, yeah, they don't make 14-inch rims in those babies. So again, the point I want to talk about is, would I get this machine again, or would I get a HighLifter? And I'll tell you right now, if I'd known then what I know now, I definitely would have bought a HighLifter edition. Absolutely 100%. However, knowing what I know now, you know what's the best part is when you're redoing stuff that you've already redone and then you're redoing it again. It's awesome. Insert music. I'm pretty sure I got some water in my belt. Again, an XP, and you build it the way you want, or a HighLifter that's already snorkeled. It's got the radiator relocated, which is probably the best setup of any stock radiator relocate. It's got some pluses and minuses, but on the HighLifter edition, it's already snorkeled. All the plumbing's already there for you. Yeah, you may have to double check a few things from the factory, but you know what? If you want to do it right, sometimes you just got to do it yourself. But when it comes to the HighLifter edition, everything's sealed the way it's supposed to be. Like the fuse box, that's all sealed. Everything should be good to go from a getting wet perspective. It comes with a good set of Outlaw 2 tires, 29.5. Now, they are a little heavy. They are a little heavy, but they're a very good, very capable all-around tire. And they don't ride that bad on the trails. Unless you don't have power steering. The HighLifter 850 doesn't come with power steering. I don't even know why they sell that. I really, really don't. I don't know. There's reasons, I don't know. Who really knows why they do that? I have no idea. Who really knows? Who really knows why the Sportsman HighLifter 850 edition does not come with power steering? I know they want the 1000 to be a premium edition, but like, who, like, I don't know. It's crazy. I'd pay a little bit more for it. But let's just hold on for 1 second and let me explain my personal thing. My budget-wise, I could not go for a new machine. Now, I did find a new old stock 2016, but what I just talked about didn't have power steering. It's no good. Yeah, it's absolutely no good for me. I gotta have power steering. I'm old, and you know what? Once you have power steering on an ATV, you will not go back to one that does not have it. Guaranteed. All those old guys, oh, you don't need power steering on it. You know what? Once you have power steering on your ATV, you'll never go back again. Call me a liar. I'd like to see you. Call me a liar if you want, but I highly doubt it. Anyways, okay, so I was looking for a used ATV. Now here's the one thing, knowing what I know now, I would never buy a used mud specific off-trail snorkel machine from someone that's used, unless I had very good knowledge of who that person was. I would be very, very limited in my ability to want to do it. I could maybe name a couple people, but you just don't know what's happened to it. There's too many things, you could have too many problems. So I wouldn't buy one used. I'd have to buy a new one. So if I was buying a new one, I would definitely buy a HighLifter edition. But what you have to change is the shocks, because the shocks have a very short travel, so you gotta change the shocks. But when you change the shocks to, like I say that off of a scrambler, then you start running into issues like I did with these, and your tires rub. You hit the headlights under here. The one other thing that I don't like about the HighLifter is the gear. Now, it's a good thing in that the low gear is, I believe it's a 30% reduction, and I believe that number comes from Polaris. But when it comes to percentages of gear reductions, there's math involved, and it's out of my wheelhouse. I don't know. But the low range has a gear reduction, lower than this machine right here. This low range is pretty good. On the HighLifter edition, the high range gear also has a gear reduction compared to this machine right here. That is where I would not be happy. So you have to go in, you can change those gearings. You need to buy 2 new gears and a chain, maybe a couple other little things, but you gotta pull the tranny, you gotta access the tranny. I believe it can be done on the machine. Change that so that you get better high speed when you want to go trail riding. But again, what tires do you put on it? What's your main purpose? I have seen some HighLifters for sale recently, and people think they can make a combo bike out of it. And it's really not that without dumping more money into it. The big thing is, ATVing, off-roading, it gets expensive because you try it and you're like, oh, okay, I need to change some of my equipment. My equipment's not quite right. You need gear for all the different conditions and elements, what time of year. It's almost endless of what you can get. But the fact of the matter is, I'm extremely happy that I bought this. Now this is a 2013 edition. It's the XP model with the 850 HO engine. Loads of power. It's the exact same frame that the HighLifter edition models are based off of. They changed the plastics a little bit. The seating position's a little bit different here. There's a difference of a few inches in this area here. On the newer HighLifters, the seat's a little different. The handlebars are different. The pod's different here. You don't have this big pod. And you're sitting a little bit more forward, just a little bit, so that when you put the gear shifter into park, it actually hits my leg. And I don't have big legs either, so yeah, I don't know about that. So when it comes to snorkeling this machine, the battery is located, the stock battery location is right under here, just below where my snorkels come out right now. So you've got to do a battery relocate. So you can buy a bracket or make your own. Get that out of the way. You have to relocate your radiator, which you really should do if you're riding mud at all. You really should. It makes a huge difference. I was kind of, myself, I really wasn't 100% sure if I wanted to do that because I wanted to save my front rack space here when I go hunting and things like that. But the more I got into mud riding, the more I realized, yeah, I'm not going to take it hunting that much. I kind of realized that. So having the rod relocate here is a must. So you relocate the radiator, you move the battery, then you can run your snorkels up the center here. Well, it's a lot of work. It's a pain in the butt. I bought a snorkel kit from a company, and I don't even want to say their name. I've said it in other videos. It's garbage. Absolute, utterly garbage. So you're better off buying your own and doing it the best way it should be. Now, knowing how to snorkel a machine and what it really takes, that is a thing that if you do it for the very first time, you might not get it right. So buying a kit, it's not a bad way to go. But do your research on the kits that you should buy. And I'll tell you what, a lot of the times, if you spend a little bit more money, you get what you pay for. You really do. So at the end of the day, it all comes down to the mighty dollar. And what are you willing to spend? And what of your time are you willing to invest in a machine, into fixing it up the way that you'd like? That's what it really comes down to. Should you buy a regular Sportsman model and then make it more mud specific, or should you buy a HighLifter edition? I would highly recommend you buy a HighLifter edition right off the bat, spend a little bit more money into it, change the shocks and all the other things I mentioned earlier. Or another option, if you're pretty handy, is you could look at buying an older model such as this, or you can find someone that is parting out a HighLifter edition and buy all of their snorkel stuff, their air box and all that kind of stuff. Why? Because they probably sunk it and the motor was shot and they couldn't afford the money to put a new motor into it. So you can buy all those parts, buy it all and then make it. But again, by doing all that work, you're still spending a lot of money. You might as well just go and buy a HighLifter edition. I'll tell you what I'm thinking about. If you're a Polaris fan, and you probably are if you're watching this video, you probably heard of the Polaris Sportsman and Scrambler S models. Well, wouldn't it be something if they came out with a Polaris Sportsman S HighLifter edition? Wouldn't that be something? I would definitely be taking a look at one of those babies. Keep on coming back. I got lots of videos in the queue. Why don't you check out this one right here? I'll see you in the next one.